That looked so ugly to start, and they found a way despite some things. They're obviously troubling. A lot to talk about. 215-592-9494. As we react with you guys all day after a huge Sixers win, it changes the course of this playoff. The run, their chances here. They just found a way. I mean, last night they showed a fight. They showed a toughness. They showed an acumen on the bench in terms of coaching that we haven't seen here in a long time. Now, there are some concerns. We'll get to those. But let's react to the win because they won that game last night, Hugh, a game that early in the second quarter, I was sitting there saying, it's Groundhog Day. Here we go again. This is the Sixers in a big game, yet somehow they won the game.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Philadelphia. It's okay to go out today and get your Nick Batum jersey. It's not too late. It's not too late for that, so that's cool. But you're right, Joe. It was one of those games where it started out in favor of the Sixers, and then we slowly started to see Jimmy Buckets do what Jimmy Bucket does.
Yep.
All those steals he had in the first half, man, and the way that he was playing, it did feel like Groundhog Day. And for all those folks that was down there that were booing, I felt that. From laying on the couch, watching that game, I felt that.
Oh, they earned those boos.
Oh, yeah,
early.
they definitely earned those boos, man. And I think that was one of the things that made the Sixers come out of the second half, and they stepped that thing up, man. It was a phenomenal game. It was an exciting game. And it was everything that I thought it should have been. Like, Joel Embiid wasn't his greatest, but he came up clutch when he had to towards the end. And it was one of those things where the teammates, like I was telling you yesterday, Joe, man, I kept telling you about everybody knows their role. And it felt like no matter what was going to happen, those guys were going to fight. Kelly Oubre did Kelly Oubre things. He came up with some big time, got fouled. He was a hell of an actor last night when he got fouled a couple times.
Well, he was, and he had 8 rebounds, by the way.
Yeah, he did, man. I'm telling you, those guys and that coach, I like what I saw last night. Now, it was ugly, no question about it. But that's the way that he wanted to play the game. They wanted to make the game ugly. They did that, but the Sixers were resilient. They were able to work through that.
Well, they were. And you know what? It was playoff basketball. That was playoff basketball last night. 215-592-9494. All right, here's what hit me the most last night. Obviously, the Nick Batum game. I mean, that is one of the – it's rare to see, I'll put it this way, a role player have that big of an impact in an NBA playoff game.
Yeah.
20 points. I mean, the guy was just hitting shot after shot after shot. And then, of course, the block down the stretch. That was incredible. Nick Batum saved the day last night because we could be real, right? We're always real on this show. What do you always say? We keep it a what?
Keep it a bean.
Keep it a bean. Okay? Joel Embiid didn't play his best basketball last night. And we'll get to the ramifications of his health right now because I think maybe the wool was pulled over our eyes a little bit about how healthy he actually is. Tyrese Maxey didn't have a big game last night. We know Tyrese could play better. And the game was getting away from them. Hugh mentioned the boos. They were turning it over. I mean, they lose that game every single time in the last 4 or 5 years in the playoffs. Yet they didn't lose the game last night because of Batum, because of your guy, Kelly Oubre. I thought Kyle Lowry gave them some good minutes last night.
He did. He hustled. He had some hustle points.
Yeah, and look, it wasn't in a dominant game, but he had 7 points, 5 rebounds, and hustle points. I agree with you on that. And here's what happened last night that they hadn't shown in a long time. They showed fight. They showed little dog mentality, to use the Nick Sirianni term.
Yeah.
They have dogs now. I mean, they have guys that you feel like they're up for the challenge of the postseason. And you know the other thing they showed? They got a coach. They have
coach.
Look, let's just be real. There's no chance they win that game with Glenn Rivers on the sideline.
You know what?
There's not a shot.
I was like I told you yesterday, they don't live in the past, and not to bring up past stuff. But, boy, that was one of the first. Like, I was not so much bring up the past. I was reflecting.
That's a different way of bringing up the past. Let's reflect.
It's still saying, yeah. But I was just like, boy, if we had any other coach, I don't know if we pulled this out. Because before the half, it looked like it was about to be a runaway.
Well, the Spoelstra zone was destroying the Sixers' offense. I mean,
yes,
they had no clue. And then Nurse adjusts in the second half. Couple things. One, he's got Maxey to attack more, so it kind of broke the zone down. 2, you know what he had the courage to do last night? He had the courage to do 2 things that Glenn Rivers wouldn't have done. Number 1, he had the courage to get Tobias Harris off the floor because he was killing them last night.
He was not ready last night, man.
Not ready? When is he going to be ready?
I don't know.
Yeah, well,
but he missed some bunnies. Was it some bunnies?
Oh, my goodness.
He missed some easy shots, and it was just, it was not good.
It wasn't. But Nurse had the courage. I'll say courage. I mean, he's a $40 million player.
He's trying to win.
Get him off the floor, right?
Hey.
We're trying to win. And the other thing I thought he had the courage to do, and I'm not sure if this was a tactical thing, if it was just subtle. Hugh, you've mentioned this before. You really you notice in the second half the offense wasn't going through Embiid as much.
Mm-mm.
He was part of it, certainly, but it wasn't going through him as much. I thought Nick Nurse's ability to adjust in that game was the difference.
Big fella's
last
getting
night.
his pocket picked.
Pocket picked. Oh, early Joel?
Yeah, Joel was. Yeah,
well, when he had the ball at the top of the zone, I mean, Butler just was taking it right down the court.
They had a great game plan. He had a great game plan. And like I said, it looked like it was going to be a runaway. But the ability for Coach Nurse to adjust in those situations and make the game as exciting as it was, I thought that was phenomenal.
Yeah, he adjusted. He put the right guys in. He got a little bit out of campaign.
And the bench. Like, don't forget the bench. Like, the bench you was getting nothing from the bench in the first half. The bench came out. I guess he cussed everybody out in halftime. And they came out and they played well for you.
So, yesterday, Hugh, you and I think we actually set the number at 105. We thought they needed 105 points to win the game. They literally needed 105. But when we were doing our kind of quick math yesterday, we're good at math on this show.
Very good.
We had set the number at getting 60 points out of Joel and Tyrese. They only got 42 points out of Joel and Tyrese, which means they needed a boatload of points.
Yeah, that supporting cast had to step up big last night.
Obviously, Batum led the way, but they get 7 out of Buddy Hield. They get the three-pointer out of Campaign, his only shot of the night. I mean, they got guys to step up and help them. Lowry with 7. It was a collective effort, but Nick Nurse, I give a ton of credit to for the adjustments, for the courage to change the way the offense was going, and for the preparation. They were prepared last night. Listen to this after the game. Nick Batum makes that huge block late in the game. Well, why was he able to diagnose that play in that moment while coaching and preparation?
I mean, they showed me that play, like coaches showed me that play in the video literally like a minute before. So
really,
we're expecting that play like for them to go around and catch it from go right and shoot it like right away. That's exactly the play they showed me like a minute before. So I was expecting it.
They showed him the play from a week before. He was expecting the play. That is coaching. 215-592-9494. All right. Did we feel good? We got 8-9 minutes of all the excitement and feeling good.
I feel like it's about to change.
Well, no, can we talk about the other side?
Yeah, we had the kumbaya. We had the kumbaya moment.
They won, right? They're the 7th seed.
Yeah.
We got the Knicks coming up.
Kumbaya.
We said it. We feel it. But Joel Embiid, we were told he was healthy.
Yeah,
it doesn't look healthy.
There were two things at play for me in this one, Joe. Playoffs are different than the regular season. The intensity level is a lot higher. The level of energy that you exert is a lot more. Joel Embiid, like before the game even started, when he was in warm-ups, was hunched over.
Doris Burke mentioned that
he was hunched
tired
over.
in warm-ups.
Yeah, he was tired. I think part of that was adrenaline, maybe. This is not an excuse, people. Let me just say that first, because I know there are some people out there that are super hot at Joel Embiid, and I know y'all going to call in and say what you want to say. I just want to give you a little insight of what it is to be in a playoff-type situation like that. The adrenaline is pumping, and you go through like a phase of feeling like you're tired. Like it's a weird phase. You can go work out or whatever, but you go through a phase of being tired because you understand the weight of the moment. Joel Embiid did not play well in that first half, so much so that like Coach Nurse had to sit him down for a long extended period of time, and that was the first time. If I'm not mistaken, Joe, he played more minutes last night than he played, like 38 minutes. That was probably his high thus far at this point.
Well, especially since he's come back.
Yeah, because he had that time off and he had 38 minutes. Those were 38 intense minutes, but he came up big when he had to. But initially, if we'd have lost, I know what the story would have went.
Oh, totally. So I want to give Joel credit before I say what I'm going to say here. I want to give him credit for the end of the game because I thought he executed on offense at the end of the game as well as he has in a lot of playoff games. Mm-hmm. He had a 3-point shot, he had a 3-point play, and then he had a great assist for another 3-point play. I thought his execution in the final couple minutes really helped them win the game. He stepped up. He grinded through a tough night. My concern, Hugh and everyone, is that he's not physically where we need him to be for a deep run. And I'm going to hold that concern until he shows me he is. We were told this is the healthiest ever going to be because he had all this rest. He had the surgery. He didn't look it last night. He did not look like he's that was one game. And think about this. That was one game after what? He had 5 days off?
Yeah.
Right? Because last time he played was Friday night. One game after 5 days off, and that's the way he looks physically. Now he's got to go play potentially 7 against the Knicks, and the Knicks play like the Heat. I mean, they're going to muck it up too. So I have real concern about where Joel is physically. I thought, he showed some mental toughness and grinded it out. Obviously, a tremendous win. Nick Batum is the star of the night. The star of the night. And I thought Nick Nurse showed he is a difference-making coach. 215-592-9494. What hit you the most? Let's react here as the Sixers get through it. They win 105-104.